Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura, and today we are gonna dig deep into the weight loss hacks that are popular right now on the internet. I'm gonna break down for you what are they, why do people claim that they work, and my personal advice on if you should use it or avoid it. What gives me the credibility to talk about this? Well, I am not a doctor or an expert. I am simply someone who has lost a lot of weight multiple times. I've tried it all. If there is a trend that existed, I tried it. And it wasn't until I discovered a carnivore diet about 7 years ago that I lost 120 pounds and finally, for the first time in my life, was able to keep it off. Before carnivore, I tried calories. I went vegan for a while. I tried all the different trends. I tried everything you could think of in order to lose weight, and nothing really stuck for me. So today I want to break down for you what are the trends that I'm currently seeing, the reasons why they're working for some people, and some of the things that really make me a little nervous about them. And then stick around to the end and I will share with you like my number one biggest tip for you to be successful with losing weight and keeping it off. The first weight loss hack that we're going to talk about is one that has been around for a really long time. I mean, I think 8 or 9 years ago when I was first trying out keto and it was kind of blowing up, everybody was doing, and I still see people doing to this day, an egg fast. An egg fast is where you are literally only eating eggs for 3 to 5 days. It's typically as a way of like getting back on track or doing a reset, and you just are literally eating eggs from 3 to 5 times a day. Sometimes you see people adding heavy cream or cheese or other types of fat to it, but it's just, I see it often used as a way of like doing a reset or getting back on track. What's great about an egg fast is that it's a really great way of kind of cutting out a lot of the junk maybe that you've been eating, and it really simplifies things. People often want a very specific protocol to follow in order to lose weight, and just only eat eggs is a really simple way of doing that. It's high in protein, it has a lot of good nutrients. Like egg is a very nutrient complex food, and so it can be really beneficial and kind of help with this mental reset. However, doing an egg fast isn't really fasting. You're still consuming calories, so your body's not actually getting the benefits of eating nothing or doing a total fast. And to be honest, there's nothing really magical about eating only eggs. If you're losing weight doing an egg fast, it's typically because it's pretty hard to overeat eggs, and so you're likely not consuming too many calories on eggs, and you're probably gonna get really sick of eggs very quickly. And so it's going to keep your calories low. The other thing is you're cutting out, some people are coming straight from eating carbs and doing this egg fast, or they're using it as a way of like cutting out other junk in their diet. And so it's a great way of just like getting off the carbs or nuts or keto treats or whatever else that it is that you were eating that you probably shouldn't have been eating, that maybe was contributing to weight gain. And so it is a great way of just losing weight. The negatives to it, or maybe what is not so great about it, is that you're not actually getting the benefits of a true fast. And like I said, there's nothing magical about eating only eggs. So you likely would get the same benefits from doing an egg fast as if you just did meat and salt and water. And I actually see people end up adding so much cream cheese and heavy cream and other cheeses to their egg fast and eating so many eggs throughout the day that they actually end up gaining weight just because they're consuming so many calories or they're adding so much dairy to it. So I've never really seen anybody be like super successful, love an egg fast, keep the weight off long term. And so for me, when it comes to an egg fast, I usually am trying to talk people out of it. I'm saying like, you should lose it, like we shouldn't be doing this. If you're looking for a reset and trying to get some junk out of your system, like just do a keep it simple carnivore version, cut out a lot of the dairy, other things that are being inflammatory, and eat a variety of meats and keep things simple besides that. And I personally think you're gonna have a lot more success, and it sounds a lot more enjoyable to me than just eating eggs all day long. I also think any other type of fast that's essentially just you eating one singular food for an extended period of time, and I would just put it all into that same category as an egg fast. This video is sponsored by Element. One of the things you hear people talk about a lot with weight loss is how much you need to drink water. Drink water, drink a gallon of water a day. And actually, it's not about drinking water that aids with weight loss. It's about being hydrated. And sometimes this force drinking a gallon of water is actually counterproductive. You can drink too much water and flush out all of your body's natural electrolytes. I start every morning with drinking this big water, and I put a packet of the unflavored Element in it. And that salt-based electrolyte is what really keeps me hydrated, and it helps me to prevent having any negative side effects from dehydration. It really aids in my digestion. I feel full, and it just helps me overall with weight loss. Element also has a variety of flavors that are sweetened with stevia, which the grapefruit, the chocolate caramel, and the citrus are big hits with our family. One of my biggest tips is to focus less on drinking massive amounts of water, focus on drinking water to thirst, but then ensuring that you are properly hydrated by using a salt-based electrolyte. If you want to try Element, you can get a free sample pack of their drink mix packets with any purchase. You can go to drinkelement.com/LauraESPATH, and they have a deal for all my subscribers where you can get 8 free packets of their most popular flavors, and you can see which one you like best. So thanks to Element for sponsoring this video. Okay, the next weight loss hack that I want to talk about is taking berberine or other supplements. This is something I think there's a little newer trend. I've seen a lot of the Instagram reels or bloggers or all these different people on the internet talking about berberine, and it's just gotten really popular even outside of the diet community. And that's because it is a supplement that really aids with stabilizing your blood sugar. I see people online calling it natural Ozempic because it's supposed to be a really good appetite suppressant. It's supposed to help with weight management. It's really effective in helping with stabilizing your blood sugar and reversing insulin resistance and helping support healing of PCOS. It's not something that I've taken personally, so I really can't speak from that personal experience. I don't think it was something that was really talked about when I was first starting, and it just hasn't been something that I've used, but I actually have heard so many positive things lately. And so if you are starting your weight loss journey, if you're really struggling with trying to heal PCOS, insulin resistance, stabilize your blood sugar, I've heard so many good things about berberine and heard a lot of doctors that I respect really talking about it. So this is one of those, weight loss hacks that I think maybe isn't a hack, and it's just something that could be beneficial in aiding a really healthy, balanced lifestyle. And so I actually would say use it. This is one that might be really beneficial in supporting the way that you're eating. In addition to berberine, I also hear so many good things about taking a cinnamon supplement. I mean, that's something that my husband was taking early on in reversing his type 2 diabetes. And cinnamon is very well studied in order to reverse type 2 diabetes or help to stabilize your blood sugar. Same thing with apple cider vinegar. I personally took that it's been quite a few years since I've taken it, but when I was first getting started, I was taking that regularly. You hear a lot of positive anecdotes about taking apple cider vinegar as a supplement, and so I think as long as you're not having any negative reactions to those things, then they likely can't hurt at all. So if you take berberine, if you know someone who has, if you've had any positive experiences with it, comment that down below and maybe share that with others. Okay, next up is the one that I probably have avoided talking about the most, just because I don't need this whole entire community coming after me, but it's so big, I feel like you kind of have to mention it, and that is the sugar diet. And this is probably the most surprising to me trend that has come about, or that I've seen kind of blow up, but I guess it was only expected that in all of this world of carnivore and no sugar and low sugar, somebody was going to come up with something that was the exact opposite. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's literally eating sugar in order to raise, there's a whole scientific purpose behind this that I'm not even gonna try to break down. But it is literally eating sugar, predominantly fruit juices, even some candy. But the point is that you're eating large amounts of sugar and no fat. So then essentially your body is burning that sugar for fuel, and you're really minimizing that protein. So you're not getting the insulin spike for the protein, and you are really keeping your, essentially it's zero fat and only eating sugar. Now, as absolutely bizarre as this sounds to me, and as insanely unhealthy as this sounds, I'm not even gonna sit here and debate the science behind it, because I know those guys that are doing it have done so much research and I don't need them coming after me about that. So it's not even, the science almost makes sense when I think about it. It's because you're literally picking a fuel source for your body. You either need to give your body sugar for fuel or fat for fuel. And obviously that's why I choose to do the carnivore diet. I strip out all of the sugar from my diet and my body is burning fat for fuel. So like giving it only sugar and zero fat makes sense to me from like a metabolic perspective in terms of giving your body one fuel source. This like most unhealthy way that we could eat is to combine fat and high sugar, which is where you're eating the McDonald's and the bun and the milkshake and the French fries, and you're giving your body like multiple fuel sources and you're gonna store one of those and burn the other. So metabolically, it makes sense. And have I seen people online talking about the absolute success they've had in shredding fat from doing the sugar diet, eating literally just fruit and candy and fruit juices? Yes, I totally believe it. However, the people that I have seen be very successful on a sugar diet are typically men who are already somewhat fit and healthy and very active athletes, essentially. And they are looking to go from 15% body fat to 8% body fat. And so they're trying to just like shred off that last stubborn body fat that their body is holding. And they're exercising an intense amount. And most importantly, they are people who are used to following a protocol of some kind, whether it's macros or calories. Like they are very regimented and very capable of following this very strict protocol. Where I have seen many people falling off the wagon and the sugar diet essentially causing them massive setbacks is people like myself who are sugar addicts, who are not capable of following a regimen, who absolutely can overeat fruit and candy, who then are gonna eat the fruit and the candy and have ice cream, which you can't do because that's fat, who are going to have French fries, like who that sugar is a gateway for them or a trigger for them to then go completely off the rails and have other types of carbs, which then defeats the whole purpose. So obviously my biggest recommendation is please do not try the sugar diet. Don't do it, please don't do it. Not because it can't work in terms of losing weight, but because I think for anybody who is like me or relates to me or struggles with their weight or is diabetic or is insulin resistant, like you are not going to be able to stick to it, and you likely are not active enough to burn off the sugar that you're eating. And to me, it is just a 2 steps to fall off a cliff and ends up gonna be a major disaster. So my recommendation, plead for you is, no matter how much it like makes sense scientifically, like just please don't do it, because it's likely not going to be something that you can stick to and will end up just being a major setback. My personal favorite weight loss hack, and the one that I tend to use the most often, is just water fasting, where I'm literally just drinking water and electrolytes for 24, 36, or 48 hours, essentially. You know, I've done water fasts that have lasted up to 7 days, 5 days a few times. I personally just don't see any benefits from doing any fasting longer than 48 hours. Anytime that I am trying to boost up my weight loss or just reset my appetite or give my body a break, I do a 48-hour fast. When I was trying to lose a lot of weight, I was doing them more often, and now that I'm more in maintenance mode, I try to just incorporate them once or twice a month. It really just helps give my digestive system a break. It helps maintain and stabilize my blood sugar. It also is sometimes just a really good mental and physical reset. If I find that I'm snacking a lot, my appetite seems out of control, I can just do a 48-hour fast, and I tend to just really reset my appetite and give my body and my mind a break from thinking about food. For people like my mom and my husband who were severely type 2 diabetic, they were able to reverse their diabetes by doing these extended fasts. It's really just the perfect way to burn off all of that stored sugar deep in your organs and your pancreas and lower your insulin levels if they're high, lower your A1C, reverse that type 2 diabetes. And I personally just find so many benefits from it. it's a lot more realistic for me to just throw in a longer fast occasionally than to worry about tracking my macros or really counting my calories every day. I would much rather just leverage fasting. Obviously, extended fasting is not going to be great for somebody who has a history of restrictive eating or disordered eating behaviors. And if that's going to trigger you in that way, then obviously you should not be doing it. But if you are trying to boost up your weight loss, if you're not in a restrictive eating behavior currently, if you're just trying to lower your A1C and reverse your insulin resistance, then extended fasting is a perfect way to support that. And it goes really well along with a keto diet, carnivore, or somewhere in between where you're burning fat for fuel because you take a break from eating and your body's really going to tap into that stored fat, get those ketones flowing, and just really burn fat. Okay, I'm going to share my number one tip for losing a lot of weight and keeping it off. But before I do that, I just want to say there are a lot of other trends that I'm seeing right now. Obviously with the popularity of the GLP-1 meds, I've seen a lot of people talking about microdosing GLP-1s, and that somehow is different than just using the normal amounts of them. I also see a lot of people really talking about peptides all of a sudden. Those are just things that I personally don't know too much about yet, and I need to dig into before I would feel comfortable speaking about them. If there's other trends or other weight loss hacks that you're seeing online right now that you would love me to dig into, just comment them down below and I can take a look at them for a future video. In general though, with everything that I have just mentioned, I think the most important thing in order to lose weight and to keep it off is to just find what works for you and find something that you can stick to long term. That's kind of the problem with all of these weight loss hacks, is that it is something that you're doing very temporarily in order to try to get some quick results. But the problem is that when you go off of those things or when you stop doing that hack, most people tend to gain their weight back. I just watched that new documentary that's out about the Biggest Loser show, and it talks about this phenomenon that people were losing weight in this extreme way. And I think it's 90% of the people that went on The Biggest Loser gained all of their weight back after the show ended. And that's because the weight was lost in a way that wasn't sustainable for their real life. They were eating in such a calorie restriction, or they were exercising for so many hours a day, they then went back to their normal life and they gained all of their weight back. And that's kind of the same way with all of these different hacks that I was talking about. If they're things that you're doing for this temporary amount of time, you're expecting a quick result, whenever you go back to normal, you likely will gain all of your weight back again. And I fully admit that the majority of the world would probably consider a carnivore diet a weight loss hack. This whole idea that you're simply doing something in this strict manner and when you go off of it, you'll gain all your weight back. And that has been true for a lot of people. It would be true for me. If I went off a carnivore diet, I very easily could gain all of my weight back. And for me, that's why this has had to turn into a lifestyle, because I know that I am eliminating foods that trigger me from going off and having carbs and sugar. I'm able to avoid foods that make me feel bad physically. And I've found a way to do this where I can eat in restaurants, I can go on vacation and stay on plan, I can travel for my job and find food that I can eat. I've had to find a way of doing carnivore that's a way that I can do it 365 days a year. And yes, I'll incorporate a fast here or there, something just to kind of do a little reset. But I am operating within this amount of changes versus I'm not doing completely on the wagon, completely off the wagon again. And I found this way of having some guardrails to keep me operating within what is my lifestyle and my new normal. And vacation mode now is having some cheese or having a snack or having a couple more meals a day. And then getting back on track means doing a little fast, cutting out dairy for a little while, and just cleaning things up slightly. And it's no longer binging and having all this crazy junk food and then trying to find some way of getting back on track again. And so whatever weight loss hack you find or lifestyle that you find, the most important thing is to find a way of eating that makes you healthy and is a way that you can stick to when life happens, when you go on vacation, when you're really stressed, when challenges happen in your life and you're wanting to turn to food. What is it that you can do that's going to help keep you on track most of the time, and stop looking for this quick fix? Because unfortunately, the minute we go off of that, we're going to end up in a worse position than we were when we started. And so that's my like number one hack or tip for you, is to focus on how can I eat every single day that's going to help me improve and help me be healthy and have long-term success, rather than looking for short temporary fixes. But trust me, we are all I am so impatient to lose weight and get healthy, because we think that once we hit that goal, then we can just go back to normal and it's all going to be easy again. And the dozens of times that I like lost weight previously and then went back to normal, I always regained that weight again. And it wasn't until I was able to come face to face with the fact that this is my new normal and I have to find a way of eating that can keep me on track most of the time, was I able to find a longer term success. And that certainly doesn't mean that it's easy, but maybe that's a topic for another video. So comment down below if you have any other hacks or trends that you're seeing you want me to address, or if you have anything that's just really working for you. We would love to hear it and to share. And if you're looking for some support and for some community, you can come to my locals community and join there. We do some live streams, we post for accountability, and we just share and encourage each other. Thanks for watching.